Space Corp Directive 17412, Episode 3, where we're talking about the first Red Dwarf novel, Infinity Welcomes Careful Drivers. And with me this week we have Chris Ashworth.
Hello.
And Andrew Durning, who the former of which you'll have seen in the last episode that we did, and Andrew you'll have seen in our first episode and in pretty much most of the Ginger Media stuff, because he's an unstoppable ginger machine.
Yeah,
that's what she said.
A podcast monster.
Yeah, I think your one will go down better than what the other one. Actually, your one, Chris, is more believable.
As people from my work will know, I'm entirely AI generated. I'm not a true human, but I'm real to you, and that's what keeps me alive.
That's what counts. I've been out drinking with you, which makes me question how much I had to drink that night.
But in fairness, if we take it back to Red Dwarf, everybody got drunk with Crichton, so there's always one that'll slip through.
Yeah, for sure.
Crichton did get drunk, didn't he? He got drunk, and
he did. In the last episode of Series 3, Holly made him a special brew, which basically, what she said, is lethal to humans. It should be lethal to androids too, but it won't matter because he was meant to die the following day.
Yeah, that's right. Because he's got his replacement on the way. It's just my job.
Yeah, his replacement is basically
I love it.
Yeah. Did you know his replacement was kind of like the love child of Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Yeah, he did. He had traits of both of them for sure.
Yeah, like the complete insanity of Seagal and like the lethalness of Van Damme just melded together.
Definitely not the lethalness of Seagal.
Yeah, I just love that Robert Llewellyn was basically like his own boss. Well, I was like basically, yeah, we're going to kill him. So you're killing yourself. Nice one. This is an existential crisis right here.
I think I remember Robert Llewellyn saying that doing the episode in season 3 where he becomes human was like his favorite one, DNA, because he didn't have to do makeup. It's like an absolute nightmare because he was in there for like 6 hours every day.
Yeah. It was like, because it started off, it was like 12 hours or something like that, for them figuring out how to do it. Then it would gradually work its way down. And I always remember, like, when it got to, I think, was it the 12th season that they were all done up, like mechanoids? And they'd rip the piss out of him for all those years, and they just went, right, payback's a bitch. And they absolutely hated them for it.
It must be annoying sitting in makeup for like 6 to 12 hours. And then you're just like, we're ready to kick off. And then Chris Barry and nearly said Charlie Sheen there. Bloody hell.
They both had the same problem with cocaine.
Chris Barry and Craig Charles and Charlie Sheen walks in and goes, I think I'm in the wrong studio. What a fucking weekend this was. I know Chris Barry and
Craig Charles.
Chris Barry and Ray Charles.
Ray Charles.
Ray Charles says, is this the gig is?
Barry Manilow and Ray Charles.
Barry Manilow and Ray Charles walking in and asked Robert Llewellyn how long it took. But we haven't even mentioned the book yet, right? This is all
we haven't. We should get on track, I suppose.
But yeah, sorry.
Lead us to it.
It must be frustrating being 6 to 12 hours of makeup. And then, so you're there probably from 3 in the morning or whatever, getting made up. And then Craig Charles and Chris Barry kind of saunter in, get a wee bit of kind of that done, and then kind of go, right, okay, first scene. Yeah.
All of Chris you also have to remember as well.
Exactly.
They've got to remember as well, like doing the actual gig, a day filming is an average day of 12 hours.
Yeah.
So he's basically there like almost a full day, like just sweating in like a giant novelty condo.
Yeah, and then do it all again, and then it must be liberating though at the end of the day to just tear it off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd be looking forward to like the finale, and just be literally ripping it apart. Just be like, no, I ain't putting this back on for at least maybe a year, probably 2. Stamping on it, set it on fire just to be safe.
I don't know. I might do what Ryan Reynolds did when he finished Deadpool. He just took the suit home. I just go home in it. Just get the bus and then never take it off.
No, well, I would, if I was Rock Royale, I would just take home the groinal socket. Just walk home, right, hen, you're in for it tonight.
A variety of attachments.
Tonight's the night.
It's like, I'll finally make you that omelette.
Yeah.
The whisk.
You'd be surprised when a few people are willing to eat them.
We are definitely getting ahead of ourselves now. Right. Anyway, Infinity welcomes Careful Drivers. Chris and I talked about rereading this last week, and then Chris, of course, mentioned the fact that the audiobook is narrated by Chris Barry.
Yeah, it is very well done as well. Its accents are great.
Do it instead, and what? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, so I was saying, he's got a lot of different impressions that he does, right? He does an impression of everyone, and it's passable with everyone. But with Norman Lovett, it's flawless. I literally thought they'd got Norman Lovett, and he's so good at doing an East London, like elderly East London man.
Yep, his Norman Lovett was. I would go as far as to say that his Holly was better than his Rimmer.
Yeah. Wow. Funnily enough, his Rimmer in places.
His Rimmer impression was fantastic.
Yeah, it was really good. But he does. I never realized the difference between Chris Barry's normal voice and Rimmer's voice, because he really does go more nasal when he goes Rimmer.
Oh, he absolutely does. He's got that. He absolutely does. It's definitely. I suppose him, Danny John Jules, and Robert Llewellyn deviate the furthest from their actual kind of voices.
Craig Charles essentially playing himself.
Yeah,
he's playing himself.
And so is Norman Lovett. But I mean,
that's true.
Norman Lovett. That's what made Norman Lovett kind of so good at being Holly, was the fact that I even think Hattie Hayridge did it to an extent, but nowhere near the extent that Norman Lovett does. She had a wee bit more mania to her. But
she had a little bit more freedom about her, I think, like to actually be more of her, like to play that part where what Norman was like, just imagine yourself in 30 years' time, what how tired you'll be. And then 30 years later, he's back and he's that tired, but he's still playing himself 30 years on from that. So he's feeling like he was practically dead.
That's right. And you could fit an entire deck of 52 in the creases in his face.
Chris Barry's performance. I mean, it's like a 7.5 hour audiobook or something, and his performance is just exceptional. The only annoying thing about the audiobook was how it just sporadically decides to throw the tune in.
Yeah. He's falling asleep on the bus and suddenly he's trying to climb out a window. It's so loud.
Yep.
It's like it's going, you still there? Bang.
Yeah. Just trying to wake you up.
It felt like the equivalent of when Netflix says, "Are you sure you watched 6 episodes of Archer back to back?
You sure you're not asleep on your sofa right now?"
Exactly.
I've not watched 6 episodes of Archer back to back. I've watched 6 series now. Just come on and keep going.
Exactly. It's like click.
Just got to keep reminding it to move on.
Yep.
We were talking about last week that Infinity Welcomes Careful Drivers is one of the 3 versions of the pilot, and definitely the books were a lot better planned out than the show, because stuff all makes sense and sort of leads into the next thing, whereas the show just, it does what every sitcom does. Every sitcom's guilty of it, but they'll say something early on and they'll just forget that they said it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the things that
on the series does it.
Mm-hmm. The book makes it explicit that Lister had a thing with Kachansky.
It does,
Whereas they retroactively do that in the show. So you've got he fancies her, she was part of the plan, Fiji, blah blah blah, and then I think it's like in later seasons you find out there had been an item which was blatantly flying in the face of all the info you had in the pilot. But they definitely do weave that in, and when I was reading it, or listening to it. I had the book as well, but I basically listened to about 90% of it. Well, I listened to all of it, but I was flicking through the book as I did it. So it was more of a reading endeavor, a listening endeavor than a reading endeavor. But just because of Chris Barry.
Wait, what? Sorry, we're gonna have to pick that apart a little bit. You read along with the audiobook. Who does that?
I do that all the time.
What? Wait, are all your audiobooks do you pay for them? Are they subscription based?
Yeah, subscription based. But
so you're telling me you pay twice? You have the audiobook going. You're reading the physical book that you physically paid for.
Not always.
What the fuck?
What's wrong? Where I do that more explicitly, if I've got a book on Kindle, which I don't, so this is why this seems weirder, right? I'll acknowledge that this seems weirder, right? But on Kindle, right? Are we allowed to advertise media here, Andrew? I'm not really advertising. I'm just telling you that
other e-readers are available.
Is that way? You just have to state that Ginger Media Limited does not have any affiliate marketing with Amazon Kindle, or any proprieties. Just something as simple as that.
I'm just
reading your generic e-reader.
If I'm reading a book on Kindle, I've usually got it on Audible as well, and if it's available, I whisper sync it, so that if I'm reading a book and I'm like on page 256 and I need to jump in the car, then Matt Damon will start reading from page 257 onward, if that is my want.
Does Matt Damon do a lot of audiobooks?
He doesn't. I don't know why I chose Matt Damon. I don't think he's done a single audiobook. I don't know why I picked Matt Damon. I think I freaked out so much about name dropping Amazon that I decided to go so far in another direction and do somebody that's not renowned for audiobooks.
I want the fella that played Bricktop and Snatch to read an audiobook. I'd eat that up. It's so good. Give me that fucking shooter.
Oh man.
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. Which reminds me of Harry. Did someone not rewrite Harry Potter?
Yes, I sent you that link.
Yeah, that's right. You sent me that.
I sent you the link. Anyway, sorry, we're deviating again. It's not like this is why I brought Andrew in. Check.
Keep us on schedule.
Anyway, so sometimes with books, if I want to continue the book, the police frown upon you reading books in the car while you're driving.
Yeah, no matter how much knowledge you're gathering as you drive, they don't respect that.
Exactly. Apparently, no matter how much knowledge you're gathering, it's just not enough. So what I usually do is, and again, I'm sure other audio stroke e-book
e-readers
do this just as well as the world-renowned Amazon /Audible whisper sync technology. I'm sure there's other technology out there, but so if I'm reading a book and then I want to go somewhere where it's not easy to read a book, then I continue listening to it. That is not what happened with Infinity Miracles Careful Drivers. I just had a paperback copy of it handy, and I sometimes, while I was listening to it, flicked through it in an effort to see if I could find the bit I was at.
For fuck's sake. It's such a strange thing to do, because I've listened to a bunch. I've read all of H.P. Lovecraft, and I've listened pretty much to all of it. Never once have those things met. Never once. They're for different things. One is to help me sleep, and that's actually reading them, and then the other one is to make the bus journey less terrible.
Both of those things are so untrue. Reading H.P. Lovecraft to help you sleep, and using kind of the inventor of what is, to all intents and purposes, cosmic horror to make a bus journey less bad.
But
it's basically a collection of American people going insane by seeing stuff that's beyond their comprehension, and that is when you relax on a bus.
It's genuinely all I know. I own 2 books, right? One of them is the collected works of Oscar Wilde, and the other one is the collected works of H.P. Lovecraft. and H.P. Lovecraft's easier to read.
No,
It's not difficult to read, but it's more flights of fancy, which I know sounds weird, but it's like it's harder for me to imagine the society in which Oscar Wilde grew up in than it is for the Arkham University and the Eldritch Abominations henceforth. It is good though. I mean, horror is. I watch horror. That's sort of the main genre of film that I'd watch, but that isn't anything to do with Infinity Welcome's Careful Driver.
It is not, and I'm glad you noticed. I'm also noticed you don't have a physical copy of this book and you're slagging me off.
Yeah.
Andrew, I'm assuming you've read the book.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I definitely read the book.
Do yourself a favour and listen to the audiobook if you haven't heard it. It is beautiful.
So good. It's so good. One of the things I didn't remember about the book is that it ended leading into Better Than Life, because the whole thing. So one of the things that's like completely skip. It seems like the season 6 episode, you know, the one where they get the time drive from.
Yeah.
Seems like they took that episode and mixed it with whenever they found the Nova 5 with Crichton and the officer. I don't remember their names, but. And they find the duality drive there, which is, I've never seen anything like a duality drive in anything else, where it's just like it makes you exist in two places at once, and then you choose which one you want to be.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is that? That never comes up in the show. That never comes up in anything else. They just throw it out there like, oh, this is how it works. What? And then they said it would take 3 months, which I don't understand either, because how does it take 3 months to just be somewhere else instantly?
Yeah, because there was an element of me trying to kind of reconcile how they could have crashed their ship in the Red Dwarf to find them.
Yeah,
we've lost Andrew.
Well, I suppose the duality drive maybe just didn't work at that stage because of the damage that Crichton had caused.
But I mean, we have. Can you see Andrew? Because I seem to have lost him.
No, I can't see him. He's loading. Oh no, he's dropped out. He's probably rejoining in a moment. Keep an eye on the backstage.
Right.
Not discuss anything because we'll probably edit this bit out.
No. I think we should. I think we keep going. He might not come back. We keep talking. Basically, they'll need to reconnect them. Right? Okay. We lost you for a moment there, Andrew. You're back. We didn't talk anything.
I just decided to go. No, you're out. Catch you out.
Talk about duality drives. That's
duality drives, and then suddenly Andrew was somewhere else.
I'm trying to think of the differences between the main pilot and the book, because that's
basically there's quite a few. Right, I'll just quickly talk through the episodes that they kind of do. They pretty much do the end.
Yeah.
They do Future Echoes.
They do Future Echoes.
They do I think that was the episode with two Rimmers, Me Too.
Yeah.
It's called Me Squared.
Called Me Too, Me Squared.
Me Too, whatever, right? Okay, well, one or the other. And the one with Crichton, which I think was called Crichton.
Yeah, it was called Crichton. Yeah.
And then of course they kind of seg you into the Better Than Life. But was there anything else? But the events of Crichton and Me Too seem to be occurring almost simultaneously.
Yeah, and the Better Than Life thing, it's obviously because it ends up becoming its own whole book. It's different in that it's not just a simple, because it was easy for them to get out of the game. They just had to choose to leave.
Yep.
But they got into the whole thing. There's a tabletop I play or have played in the past called Shadowrun, and in Shadowrun, I don't know if this is taken from Red Dwarf, but in Shadowrun they have things called beetle chips, which is BTL, Better Than Life, and it is considered like a classified drug essentially, where it can kill you from overuse. You fry out your sensory system, you can end up becoming, what is it? It's a trait for it, I can't remember, but it has so many parallels with Red Dwarf. And it seemed in the book they go into how it ended up, it was illegal, and about how actually there's something else the book really made me think about, which was, so whenever they're searching for the cat after he got missing for 2 days because they were celebrating, and then they find the beetle chips, they talk about how, this woman was clearly smuggling stuff. When you consider the size of that ship, there must have been tons of contraband being smuggled on the Red Dwarf that never comes up in the show because it's a family show. But there's got to be a time when they look behind a cistern and find like a pound of smack or something. That's a whole a whole arc of its own, like cat on cocaine. Imagine that. Probably don't have to.
We probably don't have
no,
to.
we don't have to.
but there's obviously, the ending. We'll probably get to the ending at the end, but the ending of the book is it's quite a dark ending.
Yeah, because they're dying.
Yeah, for sure. And then the tragedy is that kind of Lister kind of realizes he's dying, but he still can't leave because it's like Christmas and
yeah, it's always Christmas Eve,
isn't it? From It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, it's always Christmas Eve. You can't leave them on Christmas Eve, but it's always Christmas Eve.
Yeah, it's always Christmas Eve. But going back to what you're saying about the kind of contraband, is it brings up some interesting stuff that they obviously didn't do in the pilot, because I found certain things ridiculous, like Lister taking a photo of himself with the cat, because Lister's not that stupid, and also it just shows you like the 80s interpretation, because we talked about this in our episode under the 80s interpretation of the future, but they still go and develop film of Red Dwarf's boots.
Yeah, or like I remember in Star Wars, you can see Han Solo in his console with a wired headset, and it's like it would definitely be wireless.
No, you've got a wired headset on right now.
It's over.
It's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
It's true, it was a while ago. I have to remember that. Things were different back then.
Things were different back in the day. But in the book, you find out that Lister manipulated it because he wanted to get put in stasis.
Yeah, he goes. Yeah, he actually, it was an intentional decision to get caught, and he purposely got a cat that was like the best pedigree, and it was inoculated for everything, so he made sure he wasn't hurting anyone on the ship. And Rimmer's, I quite like Rimmer's exam timetable in the book. They go into how he's writing his exam timetable.
You go so in depth about it. It's fantastic. There's almost feels like there's about half an hour on it.
And then what humps him in the end is that he decides not to do it right, and then includes 2 Novembers or something like that. That's it.
But it was something that always fascinated about when I read the book, was that it was a real parallel for me to think is, like, I'm a creative, as we all know. Like, I am shit at real world stuff. Like when it comes to like admin, paint, decorating, whatever. Like going out as a delivery driver or something. I'm shit at what's classed as real jobs. But artistic stuff, I'm great at it. And that's when I used to just think Rimmer, I was like, just what a smeghead. Then I read the book and I was like, he's a creative trapped in a society that won't allow him to be creative.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's
a graphic designer, he's an architect, he can make things, he's great at that, but he's stuck in the worst possible fucking situation where it's just like, you have to do this, try and figure out a 14B to a 14F, and it's still fucked.
And that's his dad. That's his dad that did that to him as well. Because it depends what interpretation of his dad you take. Because some of them, that his dad used to stretch them in the morning to make sure they were the right height to go into the Space Corp. Like there's all sorts of different wild things they say about his dad.
Yeah. And then if you look at the later series as well, it turns out that he actually isn't his dad. It's basically the Hmong guy that knocked his mom up. Was the way they said it, and I'm like, oh my god. But then I was like, how does he explain the rest? Because his brothers all look exactly the same as him.
Yeah.
I do genuinely think that Rimmer is the best rounded character of the lot of them. I just think there's just so much. I could talk about Rimmer for hours, and that's not to the detriment of the other characters, but it almost feels like and when you first look at Rimmer, it just seems as much as the rest of them. They all seem like real caricatures.
Yeah.
And flat. But then when you really get into the kind of psyche of Rimmer, you can't help but feel for the guy.
Yeah. He had a.
Do you think it is because like he's got a past? Yeah. Lister, it was like he was found in a pool table in a box, didn't really know who his family was.
Yeah.
Well, it was like his gran that raised him. That was really about all we knew, and it went to art college for a little while. Well, the cat, he just pops out in the event. There he is. Crichton, he's programmed to serve. So he evolves as he goes on from there after being rescued again. But we find out everything about Rimmer's past throughout the entire thing, which makes him the more sympathetic, because we know his brothers were arseholes that treated him like shit. We know that his mom was like just a massive whoremaster.
Yeah, she was.
We know that his dad was just basically like that version of Hitler.
Yeah, he was a psycho. For sure.
A psycho who didn't want kids to be short.
Yeah.
That is basically Hitler.
I mean,
oh my god.
I'd like to almost go through this, and I feel like I'm deviating from the point again. But again, because Chris Barry kind of narrated this, you do genuinely feel, even when it's not talking about Rimmer, that it's being almost narrated by.
Yeah,
you can't.
He feels like the central character.
Yep, yeah. I would be quite interested in like doing some sort of, as we go through the episodes, do some sort of kind of character information tally, and and because I think when you approach Red Dwarf, you do see Lister as the main character, and of course he is.
Yeah.
But they clearly have more fun writing Rimmer.
Yeah. Well, because Rimmer often is proactive in the things that he does, where Lister often reacts to that stuff. Like it's usually like it's Rimmer that's forcing Lister in the first series. It's Rimmer that's forcing Lister to count stuff when there's no purpose to anything that they're doing. There's no inventory to keep. There's no one to report back to. None of it makes any sense. It's just Rimmer is the banality of Rimmer is what keeps Lister reactionary. Yeah. So you need like Waxworld. Meltdown, that episode is amazing. And without Rimmer in that episode, what is it? They visit a Waxworld. That's pretty much it. But you've got Rimmer, and he suddenly becomes a dictator.
Yeah, yeah. I know. It's just. But honestly, I'm actually. I warmed to Rimmer immediately. Just. And when I say warm to him, I think, I don't see him as the hero of the piece. but
aside from that blooming deleted ending that they altered, that he took out season 6. Still over that. If I'd known that Craig Charles was going to get done for cocaine possession, I would have been just put the other ending in.
I know it's quite mental. We should probably also take a little moment of time to say, obviously, that recently, I'll say recently because you won't know when we recorded this. Recently, all episodes of Red Dwarf have dropped.
In fairness, you mentioned last week in the previous one, so they'll know we're at least 2 weeks ahead.
Yeah,
that's true.
So Red Dwarf have all episodes of Red Dwarf have now dropped on the iPlayer. So as you're watching this, be aware of the fact that all of this media is available to watch. If you don't have Red Dwarf, you can now. It's now at your fingertips again for the first time in a while. It was on the kind of UK TV, but now you can watch it without adverts. It's on BBC iPlayer if that is your one. The book's available from lots of online bookstores.
There you go. We've avoided branding.
He's learning.
I'm learning. I just needed to. It was in the context of what we were talking about that I had to mention the sinking of certain associated media, and I apologize for it. I'm not advertising in any way, shape, or form. So from that perspective, it's all here. It's all available. There are people that might be watching this that might not have seen the show in about 25 years, 30 years, and it's there. And give it a watch. And if you do give it a watch, we'd love comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts on it. We'd also love to hear thoughts on potential future episodes. Because it'd be nice because I know Andrew will be secretly trying to work out ways to keep me in check and not going off in bizarre tangents.
50-50 on that one. Well, at some points I'm like, right, I love the tangents, and other points I'm like, right, they went. You know how if you're driving and you miss your exit and you go, I can get to the next one, I'll still be able to double back, I'll be fine. but you guys went 4 exits ahead. And I'm like, crap. I'm like, crap. They're in America now. I've got to turn back.
You reel back somehow.
The format of Type
But
10.
I personally love listening to all of it raw and unedited because I'm like, yes, I get to hear everything and these fuckers don't.
The format on our show is usually, it's supposed to be like 20 minutes of banter and then 40 minutes of, we've gotten to 5 minutes of actual quest, 55 minutes of live nonsense, and then 5 minutes of actual content.
That's the point of lives. So lives are meant to be like totally like balls to the wall. I think it's why I'm not good at lives, because I'm totally like OCD, like in my head, and like because I do try to edit the content and stuff like that. And so when I go on a live, I am bricking myself. Like I'm at three right guards are already down by the time I've done 3 minutes. Well, it's why I always say if I'm doing a recording, please I go at the time of this recording. So at the time of this recording, I just done a live on a radio show, which is I'd only had an hour's training, and the week before, and they went, "Okay, do you want to go on live?" And I'm like, "Okay." Wow, oh my god, I was my Star Wars t-shirt looked like it was like just all the sweat and just taking all the letters off.
Oh my god.
Well, so everybody thinks yeah, basically I just look like you just stuck me out in the sun for 3 seconds. I just melted. But so everybody thinks like, oh, he's so confident online. I'm like, no, I'm not. There's an edit button.
I'm very confident online, but it's unjustified in any way.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
not at all, man. Like I say, I performed with you before, and I said that in the first episode that we done. It's great watching you. And it's the only time I've ever been able to compliment someone saying I think they're on cocaine, because you just get so much energy.
No, and
you get so much energy. You're so engaging and like reactive to the audience as well. It's something that a lot of people don't have, so I've got to give you your dues, man.
Keep this bit in.
Yeah.
I'll give enough editing by this point. We're all right.
Do you know what? If you just play what you just said for those 10 seconds, maybe in a loop for about an hour, this will be the perfect episode for me.
Well, in fairness, like when Joseph was on previously, he gave us that whole 30-second bum up of how great Ginger Media was. I just went, clip, take that. There we go.
That was actually really cool. It was it was such a good. It would have been such a good thing to just have clipped, and it's almost like an advert for the entire thing. Honestly, brilliant. We've pretty much talked. We've talked quite a lot about in this book.
We've talked about it. Yeah. We have probably about 7.5 minutes of talking about
7.5 minutes of honest to God material on the book. I will say that we talked about Norman Lovett's Holly being Chris Barry's best character, but I would say, and this is not a disservice to him, but his probably weakest portrayal was the cat.
Oh yeah, his weakest is the cat by far.
But it's still, it's still good to see. But I felt that I had to get that in.
Also, I noticed that before as well, because in that episode, the one where I can't remember, but Rimmer's the holographic suite has messed up, and Rimmer's like legs are walking forward, and he's pretending to be Brannigan, the ship's psychologist.
Yeah, that was Queek.
That was Queek. I love that episode.
Queek's a great episode.
Just amazing. Like the ship psychologist one that he done.
Yeah,
and then like 6 seasons later, they get a guy, and it's like they've had to be able to go watch this episode and act like him.
Yeah, you have to talk like he talks. But yeah, I even remember back then hearing his Holly and being like, "Fuck, that's perfect!" Like when they're in the drive room or whatever it is, just listening to him. Do
you think maybe that was why all he done for the cat during that scene was just scream, because he couldn't actually do an impression of him?
He couldn't get it down.
He does an okay job. He does a better job than I would have done.
Than a lot of people would have done. Yeah, it's just like he was copying everybody else, like beat for beat, and then when he had the whole kind of reset thing, all he did was scream as the cat. And I'm like, that's why they probably just went. Everything else was fantastic. We have to just not make him look more shit.
Yeah, let's cut that out.
Just scream and do that.
Do you know what? This is nothing to do with the book either, but it's reminding me of a thing. way back. It was in the Inquisitor episode. If you watch the bloopers of that, Crichton trying to get his lines right, talking about the past participle never tense and all this stuff. It's so fucking funny.
They hold up the script to his face as well.
There's a bit where like the camera doesn't quite move fast enough, and you see the script coming up, and they just took it out. It's not in the show at all. That whole like bit of dialogue.
Yeah, that whole bit. Yeah. Because I remember, like, the first time I'd actually seen the Inquisitor was after I saw the Smeg Ups. Because they had the compilation out. And I was waiting for that bit to see how he got it down.
Yeah.
Just from, we don't exist here anymore to, tear gas. And I'm like,
He just took it out.
All that for nothing.
He's never getting it. It's so funny, though, watching that happen. I love that stuff.
I'm forgetting about half of these episodes, and then we're just bringing it up, and I'm just excited to be rewatching them.
Yes.
They're all an iPlayer, as you said.
I know. Phenomenal.
Aside from Back to Earth, because they're cutting off because these kids. Yeah, because that tweet came out at the time of this recording today, and it said, they're all on there, and then the fans started nerd raging. They're like, Back to Earth isn't there, and I went, can you blame them? But it's because they went to Coronation Street and they don't have the rights to get that over from ITV. Even though BBC and ITV, they cross promote with their stuff all the time. So you turn up to go to a production and it's like an ITV production for BBC, and I'm like, how could you not work that? Because they're getting people on Channel 5 to come over and present in the absence of people that are like, on holidays, and like this morning or whatever. And I'm like, you're all linked in together aside for Channel 4. It just seems to be its own little ginger step cousin of British TV.
It's back to earth though. I mean, I've watched every episode of Red Dwarf many times. I've watched Back to Earth once. It's not that good.
Yeah.
This is not as good as the rest.
It completed me wants it to be there because we all talk about it and we'll review it.
You know,
that's why I
was going to say I haven't watched Promised Land. I haven't watched Promised Land. I need to watch it. I never got. I didn't even know it was out.
Yes, that's why when the announcement came today, at the time of this recording, it was today. And I'm like, it was a pretty shit announcement for me because I've got all of them.
Yeah.
So I was like, so this means nothing to me. I was like, if you were announced you were going to do like a new comic book line of Red Dwarf, like he did back in the 90s, I would be like buzzing. If it was like, oh, you're going to do another book, I'd be buzzing. It was like, oh, it's all on here. What they do?
We've sorted it for you. We've sorted it.
I was like, I've sorted it for you. Here's my collection.
Yeah. I'm slightly excited that it's all kind of available on the iPlayer, but not like blown away by did Doug Naylor really have to post a tweet saying exciting news tomorrow? Maybe not, but actually
it's what's called in this industry is grey bait, because it would be exciting news for younger generations that maybe don't have physical media. But for us that have got it, it's like, well, that's shit.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal. Well,
for any more tips, just go about the Ginger Media and come for a consultation.
I have everything except the three new 10, 11, and 12. I've watched them all quite a few times because they were on UK TV Play for a long time, but now they're on iPlayer. I'll rewatch those 3 seasons again.
Yeah, it's just a great excuse to rewatch The Boys for the Dwarf. Not that I needed one, but anytime that I'm not well or whatever, I'm just like, right, what 2 franchises do I want to either watch? Red Dwarf or in your awareness, maybe Chris, I'm a massive Thomas the Tank Engine fan. It's like, or Thomas the Tank Engine.
That's the 2.
That's the 2.
If those are your 2, you are a stoner.
I have no answer to that.
Absolutely.
I'm going to blur that out now, you bastards.
Just edit that tiny wee bit out.
I'll just leave it and see what YouTube does me for.
Just Chris, they'll just say keep your content, but Chris hasn't allowed back. That was Chris Ainsworth.
That was Chris Ainsworth.
Yes. This is alter ego.
Chris Hemsworth. Thor gets barred from YouTube.
That'll be one of your posts that you put up on your Facebook where it's a title and it links to just like a random picture of Rowan Atkinson or something.
R.I.P. Thor.
Brilliant.
Anyway, it's a great book. If you haven't read it, listen to the Chris Barry audiobook. His impressions are sublime, and it's just a cracking, very, very kind of continuity heavy take on some key episodes, and you know they basically went, how can we take the edges off some of these continuity issues, and they did it really well, and they bring Crichton into the mix a lot earlier, and I'm very excited about reading Better Than Life, which will happen some way down the line.
Yeah,
Better Than Life.
That's something I always used to say to people as well. I was like, if the continuity really annoyed you in this, like in the TV series, stick with the books.
Yeah.
But if you just love the series, you can go for it all.
Oh yeah, sure. No, I love it all. But when we're talking about continuity, there's 2 book 3s. Because Grant Naylor wrote Infinity Welcomes Careful Drivers and then Better Than Life, and then when they had their Parting of Ways, was Grant wrote The Last Human and Naylor wrote Backwards, was it? And they're both officially titled the 3rd book in the series.
That's right. Yeah, do you know? I think the Last Human is the only one I haven't read. I think.
Yeah, I've read The Last Human.
Missed that one.
I've got it somewhere in paperback in this.
Yeah, but that'll be a good episode to do, like reading both the 3rd ones and see which one you think is better.
Start. We're trying to reopen some old wounds if we can.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, a bit of dwarf debate.
Yeah, like
people watch it going, I was wanting to see 2 midgets fighting. You called it dwarf debate, and you're just like, oh no, sorry guys, we're not playing that game.
not until the ratings drop, and then we'll be getting them in. Then we'll get them in to fight to the death.
And I've always wanted to see a political debate, but before they go up, like when they're backstage, before they go to the podiums, they give them both.
I've lost you.
Fuck.
We'll never know.
It was like StreamYard even went, okay, I'm out.
Yeah, no. StreamYard went, we're cutting this. I know what he was going to say. We missed it. We couldn't hear you. You just said to give them both cut.
Yeah, they just went, give them both, and then you just froze. And it was like StreamYard. StreamYard just knew, right? We can't have this one on.
This is passion. My internet cut out for a second. Like for a second, this didn't drop. Like the call didn't drop, and WhatsApp like faltered for a second. But I did see the symbol go to no internet for a second.
It picked the perfect time because it's almost left hanging there. It just like kind of going. And if you want to find out what Chris said, tune in to next week's episode.
I only allowed to tell that story court mandated once a week.
Absolutely, that's it. You've blown it this week. We'll definitely get it next week. I've also just remembered as an aside, we still didn't do Mystery Beers and Tight 10.
We still didn't do Mystery Beers and Tight 10. We can't make that a multi-platform.
Multi-platform now. Everyone's going to go, what did it mean? And then you have to start watching another show too. Right. Anyway, I think that's a good place to tie it up. It ends in quite a depressing note. Gets you excited for the next book. It was such a somber ending. Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trapping.
I won't ruin ending. Read it, and we'll talk about it again soon.
Yeah, good show. We won't spoil. Until next week.
No spoilers,
Or next fortnight, actually. Next fortnight.
Next fortnight. I'm just trying to point at you both. Thank you very much to Chris and Andrew. Right, okay. Thank you very much. I can never do this.
Thank you very much, John and
That's the thing, though. Like, seeing the first episode, you did that perfectly.
Yeah,
you did it like Joe and me perfectly, and I was like, next one. Then I watched the next one. I was like, oh wait, here we go. It was a one and done.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Because for me, I just need to do that.
Yeah, easy.
Exactly. No. Maybe I should flip us round so I can do that. I'll just do this, right? Thank you very much.
For Matt. Yeah, Flipper real.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Chris and Andrew. for another cracking show. We'll see you very soon for more Space Corp Directive 1. So
we'll see you in the stars.
It's almost like a 1-minute blooper. We'll see you very soon for more Space Corp Directive 17412. You guys have been brilliant. Good night.